And this Sunday, over 13.7 million Ecuadorians are going to the polls to elect their next president for until the year 2029. We go live to Quito with our special envoy, Jorge Gestoso, for all the information regarding this important electoral day. Hello, Gestoso. Welcome again to From the South.
Thanks much, Luis. We have the pleasure to have as a guest now David Martínez, a political analyst and scientist, to put in perspective precisely this election day. David, thanks very much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
David, why is important for the life of Ecuador this journey, this session, this election today?
Well, this election is very important for Ecuador because it marks what should be a transformation, a change in orientation. People have to remember that Ecuador has lived through 7 years of neoliberal austerity measures and governments, and Noboa has been a transitional government. So this election turns out to be a sort of referendum on the continuation of neoliberal and austerity measures and a hard line towards security.
Basically, the subjects that concern the most the electoral, would you say, that are which ones?
I would say mainly security and unemployment. Economic concerns are the major concerns that the population has shown. What is important to know is that all the candidates, all 16 candidates in this election have turned, even left-wing candidates have turned toward a hard line on security, which means that the population is expecting mano dura, we call it in Ecuador and Latin America.
Hard lines.
The hardline security measures that will control organized crime and drug trafficking.
And in the case of certain concerns about the Election Act, if you want, do you think there is going to be enough transparency, or there's concerns that have some foundations, or it's just pure speculation and you anticipate that everything is going to be totally transparent?
A few candidates have mentioned concerns regarding transparency and the willingness of the electoral institutions to sanction Daniel Noboa. He has shown complete disregard for the rule of law and electoral rules. And so many candidates have mentioned their concern. One of the major concerns was that the citizen organizations became aware of a parallel system of counting for the military, and this is illegal. This is not allowed in the Constitution or the electoral laws, which raises concern about the role of the armed forces and security forces within the context of electoral control.
We are living geopolitically a very quote-unquote interesting moment in the history of the region, of the Americas, and also of the world, especially with the arrival of President Donald Trump to the presidency of the United States. How would you put the importance of this election geopolitically in the Americas?
Well, ever since Presidente Lenin Moreno, there has been increasingly better relations with the United States, mainly with regards to security and military cooperation. This continued with Guillermo Lasso and has continued with Noboa. Their closeness with the Southern Command and the U.S. Embassy has raised some concerns within the political class in Ecuador, to the point where Noboa has signed agreements to allow military and naval forces to patrol the Galapagos Islands in order to monitor drug trafficking. This raises concerns because they also have participated within the intelligence community and it is said to that Fiscal Diana Salazar has been very close with the embassy, aligned with the lawfare that has taken place towards progressive movements and leaders.
Do you think that we're talking about 16 candidates
Yes.
that are participating today in the election? Did 16 candidates arrive to this election in a level field?
I don't believe it's a level field. I believe that the institutions, the authorities of the electoral institutions have been very lax with regards to sanctioning Noboa, particularly who has broken the electoral law repeatedly by not taking a leave of absence when the law obligates him to. And also the expenditures on campaign financing. Noboa has clearly spent at least 3 times more than other candidates, and it is known that he has troll farms and bought paid media. So it is an unfair election with regards to other candidates. And there has been no control with regard to what he is allowed to do.
Finally, David, runoff?
I believe there will be a runoff. All the signs have shown us in the last week or so that it has been a very close race. It is a 2-horse race, as we call it,
Between
Luisa Gonzalez of the Citizens Revolution and Noboa, which is neoliberal hardline austerity candidate. And it goes to show about the polarization that exists in the country and has existed within the past 10 years or so.
David Martínez, thanks very much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
We were talking to David Martínez. He is a political analyst, political scientist. To put in perspective precisely this election day here in Ecuador that began at 7 a.m., the 2 favorites to get the most of the votes, we're talking about Luisa Gonzalez. She is the candidate of La Revolución Ciudadana, the opposition, the progress movement. She has already voted in the province of Manabí, and before that, the first one of the candidates to vote was the president candidate Daniel Noboa that did it here in Quito. Now we get back to you, Luis.